Everyone's talking about Surrey like the market's struggling, but that's only half the story. The Fraser Valley sales ratio is sitting around 10%, well below a balanced market. But I bet you didn't know that there are specific areas in Surrey and Langley that are actually in a seller's market right now. After 23 years of living and selling real estate here, I can tell you this, the market isn't slow, it's split. Let's dive in. So here's the deal. Right now, the Fraser Valley is firmly in buyer's market territory. The sales to active listings ratio is sitting at around 10%. And just for context, a balanced market is when that sales to active listings ratio is between 12 to 20%. So we're not just a little below that range, we're clearly below it. Benchmark prices across most property types are down year over year, and inventory is high, more than 50% above the 10-year seasonal average. Now that being said, the market isn't moving the same way everywhere. While some pockets are really cooling, others are holding out value a lot better than people might expect. The most obvious slowdown is happening with condos, especially in the Clayton area in Surrey and the Willoughby area in Langley. These two areas sit right next to each other, and there's a lot of condo inventory on the market. Prices have been slipping, buyers have a lot of options, and sellers are definitely feeling that pressure. In the past year, the benchmark condo price in the Cloverdale-Clayton area went down 6.6%, with the average price right now sitting around $500,000. Well, Langley saw the benchmark price fall 8.4%, with the average price sitting around $542,000. And just wait until I show you what's happening in the luxury segment. That's coming up next, so stay with me. Now, why did so much supply show up all at once? I think one of the reasons is that in late 2023, the BC government changed the rules around short-term rentals. The new rules state that you can only run an Airbnb now if it's in your principal residence or a secondary suite in your own home. Buying an investment condo just to run it as an Airbnb rental is now basically off the table. A lot of investors who bought in Clayton and Willoughby were using that strategy, and now many of them are selling because they don't want the hassle of dealing with long-term tenants and the headaches that can come with that. When a big group of sellers hits the market at the same time, supply jumps and prices start to slide. And you can see that in the numbers. The HPI benchmark condo price in Langley is down about 8.4% over last year. Places like White Rock, South Surrey, Cloverdale, which includes Clayton, and North Surrey around that city center area have all been experiencing the same effect. These are real drops. At the same time, active listings in Langley are up nearly 10% compared to last February. More supply, softer demand, and prices are adjusting. So if you own a condo in Clayton or Willoughby, you are competing with a lot of similar listings. Investor demand has pulled back quite a bit, and more supply is planned down the road. That's something you want to understand clearly before you make any big decisions. And if you own a condo in Clayton, Willoughby, North Surrey, or South Surrey, and you're trying to figure out whether holding or selling makes more sense in this market, reach out to me today. My contact info is in the description below. And if you want a quick starting point, there's also a free home evaluation tool linked down there. So fill that in and I'll let you know. Now, condos aren't the only part of the market slowing down. There's another segment that has really stalled right now, and honestly, it just surprises a lot of people. Just one sale out of more than 100 active listings in this price range. That's what the $3 million plus market in South Surrey and White Rock produced in February. Some of those homes are older places on big lots that might need work, and others are beautiful showpiece homes priced well for their home and lot size and presented perfectly. So the issue isn't really the homes themselves. The pool of buyers ready to spend $3 million or more in this area is just very small right now. Carrying costs are higher, lending is tighter, and a lot of that high-end discretionary demand has pulled back. But what's happening at the $3 million plus level is shaping what sellers should be doing in the mid-range market as well. I'll get to that in a bit, so stay tuned. If you're selling at this price point right now, patience is part of the reality. Some owners are reducing their price, some are just pulling their listings. So that brings us to the part of the market that's actually holding up. And the numbers there look very different from what we've talked about so far. Now, while condos and the ultra luxury market are cooling, detached homes in certain price ranges are still in seller's market territory. Cloverdale is a really clear example of that. In February, detached homes priced between $1 million to $1.25 million in Cloverdale ran at about a 21% sales ratio. In this price range, we're talking about older ranchers, basement entries, smaller homes on smaller lots. Now that means just over 21 out of every 100 homes listed actually sold last month. And once you're over that 20%, you're officially in seller's market territory. And amazingly, it got stronger last month if you move up in price a bit. Homes priced between $1.5 million and $1.75 million in Cloverdale came in at a whopping 27% sales ratio. That's a solid seller's market, even at what a lot of buyers see as the upper end entry-level detached pricing in this area. But why Cloverdale? A lot of it comes down to lifestyle. You've got that classic family suburb feel, driveways, yards, quiet streets, parks close by. And of course, you got that new SkyTrain and hospital coming as well. There's lots of reasons that buyers like Cloverdale right now. Many of the buyers moving into these homes are stepping up from the condo or townhouse market because they want more space and more stability. And even with the recent condo price drops, a lot of those sellers still have enough equity to move into a well-priced detached home here. And Langley is very similar. Detached homes priced between $1 million and $1.25 million had about a 24% sales ratio in February. And from 1.25 million to 1.5 million, that number jumps to a whopping 33%. Both of those are clearly seller's market conditions. And if you zoom in even further, you start seeing it at the neighborhood level. Murrayville came in at a 21% sales ratio for detached homes in February. Walnut Grove was closer to 27%. These are established family communities with solid everyday amenities and easy access to Highway 1. Murrayville has more of that small town heritage feel, quieter streets, and a slower pace. Walnut Grove is a bit more commuter friendly, quick highway access with shopping and services close by. These buyers landing in these areas are coming from different directions. Some are stepping up from condos, some are relocating from other parts of the Lower Mainland looking for, more space for their money. And some are families who just want a stable place to put down roots. And that combination of move-up demand and limited detached supply is what's keeping these markets in seller's territory. Which brings us to the future. Let's take a look ahead now. Keep in mind that these numbers are from February, and February is before that spring rush. Every year, April and May bring a wave of new listings. People come back from spring break, the weather improves, and all the homeowners who spent the winter thinking about selling decide that it's time. So inventory goes up, and sometimes quite a bit. And the real question is whether buyers show up at the same pace. If they do, those seller market ratios we talked about in Cloverdale and Langley could easily hold. But if buyers stay cautious while the inventory keeps rising, those numbers can shift pretty quickly. A sales ratio sitting around 27% in February could easily slide back into balanced market territory, or even a buyer's market by the time May rolls around. And that uncertainty is exactly why timing matters right now, because depending on whether you're buying or selling, the strategy can look very different. First, let me give some advice to the sellers. So here's the deal. Every fall when I meet with potential sellers that will be selling in the new year, I tell them you're likely better to list before late March when the spring market gets underway. I see this happen every year. Families take spring break, everyone slows down for a bit, and then April hits. Suddenly, 5 new listings show up on the same street. Now you're not the only option anymore. You're one of many, all competing for the same buyers. If you list earlier, like late winter or early spring, you're dealing with less seller competition. Buyers have fewer homes to compare against yours. And if you manage to sell before that wave of new listings arrives, you're shopping for your next place with cash in hand and no subject to sale clause. In this market, that's a really strong position to be in. Now, a lot of sellers worry about something else though. What if I sell in March and I don't have the next place lined up yet? Honestly, it's not usually a problem. Set up a 2 or 3 month closing and you've got time. By the time you're ready to buy, the spring listings will be coming online and you will have plenty of options. So if you're still weighing what to do on the selling side, keep that in mind. Now, the strategy from here looks very different depending on whether you are buying a condo or a detached home right now. And that's exactly what I'm gonna go break down next. If you're on the buyer side, you actually have real leverage right now. There's a lot of inventory in Clayton, Willoughby, North Surrey, South Surrey, and sellers in those areas feel that pressure, especially on the condo side. So if you've been watching a unit and wondering whether there's room to negotiate, there usually is. That being said, the story changes if you're looking for detached homes in places like Cloverdale, Murrayville, or Walnut Grove, especially in that 1 to 1.5 range. The sales ratios we talked about tell the story pretty clearly. Those areas in that price range are currently in a seller market. Sellers there feel less pressure to negotiate, and if you find a home you really like, being decisive matters. Trying to lowball your way into one of those homes probably isn't going to work right now. Now that could shift a bit in April and May. If inventory rises and buyers don't show up at the same time, even some of those detached segments might soften a little, but there's no guarantee. If demand picks up with warmer weather, prices in these stronger pockets could hold firm or even tighten up a bit more. So if you're ready to move and you've already found the right home, waiting around for a better deal later in the year can be a real gamble. Right now, before that full spring competition kicks in, is still a pretty reasonable window to act. Now, when you put all this together, hopefully you get a much clearer picture of what's happening in the Surrey and Langley markets. And knowing which side of it you're on makes all the difference. If you're thinking about moving to Surrey, Langley, or White Rock, email me at info@moteam.ca and I'll give you an honest read on where you stand today. And if you want to understand why some homes in this market are sitting for months while others are selling in weeks, I've linked a video here that breaks it down. It's worth watching before you make any big decisions. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one.